So in this video, I will be just going over some of the basic things that we cover with using the DSLR camera and how to check them out, and then what the basic functions or basic mechanics of using the camera. So these are things, for instance, what parts of the camera are doing what, and the settings that you use. So we'll start with that. So the first thing you want to do is that you'll see next to the camera checkout, the cameras in my office in 103, you'll see a book. And so you'll just put your name here, camera number, date out, and then I will, when you return it, I will enter this. If you have the class also, so some people will be the circuit or the yearbook, so they'll have a code for that. And then your class, you just have to put in 2610 on your code for the class, and then any extras that you might have to happen to be taking out. Okay, so the camera. We have a number of different types of DSLR cameras now. Over the years, we've been privileged enough to have cameras to lend out to you. And remember that this is a privilege. I mean, I don't know of any other school our size that offers this kind of service. Maybe there are out there, but nothing like what we have. And we've been doing this now this is into our 15th year of having cameras. So first things first, we look at what this camera is. I see it's a Rebel EOS line camera. So it's what's called a prosumer camera. Basically, it's an amateur level camera, and it'll give you everything you need to. The pictures you make are going to be perfectly suitable for this class. As we mentioned before, we will need to have our own SD card. So let's take a look at the camera. There's basically two parts. You have the body right here. It's the body of the camera, and then you have the lens, right? And one caution about using this lens, please don't just take the lens off and leave it off, because you'll get dust in on the sensor. And I'll show you that in a second here too. So the lens goes on there like that. I depress this button, lens will come off. So if you're using a longer lens or a different lens, you can easily switch them. The white button, the white tab here, I don't know if you can see that, goes to this white button here. So we line them up, click them to the left, and to take it off again, we just depress that little button right here. It's hard to see it, but it's a release. Okay, so that's your lens. So the body itself. So your card, SD card. This is a 32 gig card. It goes on the side. One thing you have to check every time you get a camera is that you know that we don't supply the card, so you'll have to have your own. I really recommend, with using a Sharpie, just writing on the card itself, just put in your last initials. So in this case here, I might just write using it. This is not a Sharpie, but if I were to, I would just write on here CIRC for circuit, YB for yearbook, or DUNL for Dunleavy if it's my card. So again, they're easy to lose, so that might help you. If you leave it in a machine, you might be able to recover it, or it'll come back to me, because most people, when they see them in there, will take them out and give them, and I'll put them up on the workstation. So the card goes in the doorway. Be really careful with these, with both this door and the battery door, because they will break off, and it's not fun to have to replace them. So that comes like this, closes it. Make sure you'll see that they're, watch what I did. So see, there's a flashing red light here. When I close the door, you can see it flash. Okay, awesome. So that's where we're starting. When you begin, I typically, to protect the camera, I wrap my arm around the strap, and my right hand grips, it's called the grip here, grips, and this hand actually acts as kind of, it's very firm. My two fingers, my thumb and my index finger have the lens, so I can zoom in and zoom out with the lens. See how it's zooming in, zooming out for close-up, or farther away, right? Wide angle or medium, in this case, is not a telephoto. So my right hand is gripping this. It's wrapped around my arm. So now I have a secure hold on this camera. So this is where we start. So basically, how do you hold the camera? And when you look down and you see your lens, you want to make sure that's it. I have to put these glasses on. So you want to look down and you see that it's on AF for autofocus. AF, see it? Right there. And it's also image stabilizer is on. So those two things, so you want to just take a quick look and make sure those things, normally they wouldn't be changing. If you do shoot on manual, which sometimes you need to, your focusing ring is on the very outside. The inner ring here on this lens is for zooming, right? And we'll get more into that as we go along. Now look here at the top of the camera, we can see that there is a dial. This is called a mode dial. And the mode dial, I guess I do. There's a little white line here that indicates what program it's on. And there's way too many things to choose from. For this class, we are going to be making all of our pictures on manual. Make sure that your camera is set on M. It lines up with that white line. Hopefully that's clear enough for you. You see it's on M. And this is going to be able to set those three things in the photographic triangle we'll be talking about. The first thing is the aperture, which is the size of the opening, amount of light coming through the lens, right? It could be small or wide depending on what your settings are and how much light you have. The shutter speed is, so the aperture is controlled by the back, on the back of the camera, and I'll spend more time on this. So it's right here. Hold this down, and then you use the wheel again up top, right? So you see the modes, it's on manual. Hold down this, and then you can change your aperture. See how I'm moving it back and forth? And when you look at in the camera, when you turn it on, you'll be able to see what your settings are, right? So this is the LCD screen back here. So here we have all of our settings, and we'll spend a lot more time. But today is just about learning about what the camera does. So another really important thing that I didn't mention was that on the top of the camera is your on and off. I should have started here, right? On and off switch. So now the camera's on, it's off. If you do video, you would go all the way to the very top on that camera. And so some cameras are a little bit different, but for most of them are this. The other button you see at the very top here, I don't know if you can see that. I mean, that looks better right there. See, it says ISO. That controls your sensitivity. If I push this button in, turn it on. If I push this button in, on the back of the camera, it will give you a number of sensitivity ratings for your card. So you can see here I have, as I depress it, right now it's set at 800 ISO, which is fairly high. And or you can just leave it on auto, which is which I recommend to start off with. Just put it on auto. It's going to give you that setting for you. But we'll talk about ISOs as we kind of go learn about the photographic triangle of your aperture, your shutter speed, and your sensitivity, or ISO. Okay, so that's the back of the camera. So let's take a look at some other things here. So the features that I just showed you are on-off switch at the very top, the mode dial, which we're going to set on manual for this class. Also the ISO, which sets the sensitivity of your frame, and then the wheel, which controls the shutter speed. So I told you that the aperture is controlled on this camera. Right here it says AV, so you can change it by holding this down and changing that, holding it down, hold that down and then change it. So that's your aperture. Your shutter speed is controlled with the wheel. But you actually control your aperture with the wheel too, because you're pressing that AV and then you're changing your aperture. And you'll see that change inside the camera when you're looking at it. Okay, cool. So other things on the very top here. So we talk on-off switch, mode dial, wheel, and then in order to activate the focus, you can see here, this is their shutter right here. So I'll be pushing that. You can hear it go off. If I push it down to just a little bit, it will set our focus for us and hold it for us. So that's your shutter. Wheel for your aperture and your shutter speed. For your shutter speed, mostly we use it, and other things too, but mostly right now we're talking about shutter speed, and aperture is controlled here. The aperture again is controlled by hitting that button on the back, holding it down, and then switching the wheel. The ISO, and then also on top here is a hot shoe that's used for a microphone if you're doing video, or a flash. This is kind of the front of the camera. I hope that's helpful to get started. Now let's turn around and look at the back of it. Oh yeah, let's look at the bottom. So this is really important. As you check out your camera and sign out your name, first thing you need to do, and this is serious because if you walk out without a battery in your camera, you're gonna have a problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at this. I'm gonna pop this open really carefully because we have a couple that are damaged, and I need you to be really careful with how you handle this. So there's a door here. It just moves by popping it open with, I use my thumbnail. Pop it open, right? That's your battery right there. Just push this little tab in, battery pop out. So when you return your camera, I'm going to ask you to take the battery out, and then we'll put it in a charger and get it ready for next time. What happens is that people will check it out and they don't check to see if there's any juice in the battery or it's not live. So then we have to get another battery. But my job is to make sure that I give you fresh batteries every time you come. And typically they'll last the 48 hours that you have for checkout. Okay, that goes in there. You saw that. Close. Make sure the door closes. There's one of the cameras has a little bit of tape on there because the door is not sticking properly, and I need to get it fixed. But for now, it still works fine. You just got to put the tape on it. Okay, that's a good start right there. So let's go to the next thing. If you look at the back of the camera here, all kinds of things. Here is the eyepiece, right? And so also on the back, right at the very above this, I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can. Let's see if I can change this. You can see right here, there's what's called a dioptic. It's right next to the lens and to the top of the camera. That dioptic, if you're looking through the camera and it looks a little soft, your picture looks soft, you might want to take, because of your vision, you can take and change that setting, just like your prescription on your glasses, right? That will change it to be sharp. That's called a dioptic. Just so you know that that's there, and I can talk about it more when I see you all in class. All right, cool. So the back of the camera, obviously there is the LCD. There is, if you're doing video, there's a button for the live shoot right here, or you can turn it on to see what you see in your frame. But I don't think you really need it for this class. I'd like you to practice not using that. Here is the, these things will pop off. So sometimes if you're missing one, let me know and I'll replace it for you. But hopefully it won't go away. So here's a bunch of different things going on here. And I'm going to give you an illustration to show you all these pieces. Down here it's called the cross keys. It controls a lot of different functions on your camera. This is a really important dial to know. You see the cross keys here. It's also image playback, delete. Don't bother deleting your images as you're shooting. Best just to shoot everything and then deal with all of that when you get them into your computer and into the server. Then you can delete as much as you want. Cross keys are really important because we have focus, we have white balance. We have, I guess, the meter is also down here, the light meter. So it's going to tell you a lot of different things. And I'll go through all of these and you'll get a handout with all the instructions. But just so you know that this is really important. So as we, for instance, if I hit play, I'm just going to, that little blue arrow, that's going to show me what pictures I have here. I don't think I have anything on here. Oh, I do. I have some video on here. So I had video on there. You can see it right there. It's so I'm looking at it. You can see the little arrow to play it back. But in general, let me see if I can find this some So that's all I have on this card. Okay, cool. It's good to know. All right, so this is just to get you started again, holding the camera. If you want to look and see on the back here, there's a cue for a quick display to let you see what you have. Also, you can see the menu. And this is important, and we'll spend some time on the menu, just so you know where it is. The menu will tell you on the back of the camera, you know, for instance, the quality of the image. So we're going to shoot on JPEGs and RAW, right? We're going to talk about how that works. And it also will give us, let me go back here a little bit. So the first thing here, you'll see, like, it'll tell you image quality. And I'll show you how to set all that up. Anyway, menu's important. If you're just shooting and you want to see a quick display, hit Q, or just turn your camera on and the LED will get you to the metering. So we'll talk about metering and all that, everything that you need to know, but just to know the basic parts of your camera to get started with. All right, so that's a lot. Anyway, this is how you get started, and I'll go over in class, but this is just kind of have something to refer to, have it on a video.